All right.
All right.
Here we are. Oh, wait, I got to light this. Do you know what these are?
No. What
They're
are
like, I mean, it's kind of hippie, but
I love a good hippie.
it's like a little like incense cone.
Oh, I love this. Does it have a fragrance or it's just like?
I think it has a fragrance. It's this brand right here. It's Ripple, but they did a drop with Houseplant, which is Seth Rogen's thing.
Yes.
So dope. Yeah, Seth Rogen's just sitting around making pottery.
Okay.
No
Casual. Yeah. Just another day.
It's awesome. I love it. It's so hippie.
Yeah. And it's like the branding is done really well.
Yeah, it's got scent. It's coming my way.
I know it is like.
Can you smell it?
I can. It's like whipped.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is. I need to get something like that.
Yeah, rad. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Shayla, how do you say your last name?
It's Owodunni.
Owodunni?
Owodunni.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's easy. That's not as hard as I thought it might be. That's great. So Shayla lives in my building, and we just met recently. And of the things you told me, it's like you were in Seattle for a couple of years, and you were like doing consulting for like Nordstrom's and like Walmart and like Starbucks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's casual, cool. And then you're like, okay, I moved to Minneapolis. I started a little blog, and since you started that blog, you've been featured in Artful Living, HGTV, Martha Stewart, Apartment Therapy, like all these huge brands.
I know.
And I think we'll like get into more of the story of each of those things later.
Yeah.
But like, how did you like, what's in you that is able to just like pursue something and not only be able to achieve it, but achieve it at a pretty cool scale?
Thank you. How do I always say yes to new opportunities.
Yeah.
Even if it seems like something that is out of my reach or character, something I haven't done. I'm like, hey, let me just try it.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I'm like, what's the best thing that can happen? I feel like everybody has a bit of imposter syndrome anyway. So I'm like, okay, everybody's figuring it out.
Yeah.
So I just like figuring it out.
Yeah. Well, you do a good job of it, it seems like. I mean, I don't know about the consulting side because I didn't audit your work.
Oh, yeah.
But the writing stuff I have because it's all online and it's incredible.
Thank you.
When we first met, you're like, yeah, I started a blog. It's like, yeah, okay, my mom has a blog too.
I know everybody has a blog.
Everyone has a blog, but it's like this huge blog that's crushing. It's really cool.
Thank you so much.
And you just live in my building.
I know, just live in your building.
Except for you're moving.
I know.
It's like I met my people and then the homies missing out. You're going back to Seattle?
I am going back to Seattle. Isn't that wild? I say never because when I left, I was like, I'm either moving to further west, going to California or New York. And then COVID happened. I came here and 6 years later, somehow.
Yeah, because Minneapolis is such a great place to be during COVID.
It was magical / family, So I guess that was a positive because it's my family. But I feel like now it's at a phase where I just felt like, okay, it's time. It's time to try something again. And it's crazy how when I decided I wanted to sell my condo, then it was like a couple weeks later, then I got a call about, hey, are you still consulting or interested in that? Like, well, it's been a few years, but why not?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a transitional phase. Why not explore?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, people like you to people met like me are just like, okay, everything just works out for you. What is that? But I'm sure there's some sort of like intention or even way you move through life that it's like, it feels like it's random or it feels like it's just good luck or it feels, but there's likely something you practice in your life that just allows opportunities to happen for you when you need them to happen. And of course, I'm sure not everything is perfect, but is that something you grew up with? Is that your background? Is that something you evolved into?
I guess I feel like since I was little, I love building relationships. Like I love people. So I feel like that's the common thread through anything I've done, whether it's consulting, like my background was in internal audit. So I always had to be asking people lots of questions, get to know them, get to know what they do. And then
financial audits?
Financial audits and IT audits. So anything from, I've gone to like call centers. I have traveled to worked with sales teams, like any possible team within retail or insurance. I have audited. I've audited their work. Yeah. And it's always about like the human element. So I feel like whether it was that of consulting and then when I started Plant Penthouse, which again, that was just supposed to be a blog that my mom and grandma were going to read because when I was little, I wanted to go into fashion. That was my thing. I wanted to move to New York. I wanted to like clickety clack down Wall Street. And that was the thing. And my dad's like, that's funny. You can do accounting, you can do doctor, lawyer, engineer. And I was like, okay, we're gonna go.
Wait, those are my options?
Yeah, like legitimately. And I failed my way through accounting, but I did it somehow.
Okay, but it's crazy because houseplant therapy, is that what it's called? What's your
The plant penthouse.
The plant penthouse.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That is like just sounds, and what I've seen is like ultra creative, writing about design, writing about different plants that fit your space perfectly.
Yeah.
From that to like, or well, I guess from auditing to that, and now back to auditing. But like they feel very contrasted.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting. They're contrasted and yet the same in that both I have to make things that seem very nebulous or out of reach very accessible. Like I love doing that. So with plant care, the first thing I always get is people like, I kill my plants, or like, I have a brown thumb. I don't know. And I'm like, great, I kill them too. That's wonderful. So it's like, let's learn how to keep them alive. Let's work together on this. And so I feel like that's the common thread of demystifying. I love demystifying things and making them be like, it's really like.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah.
So that's how, I guess they are very disjointed in that from a audit perspective, or now I focus on GRC or governance, risk and compliance. And so that it's very technical, but because it is, people automatically just close off their brain and be like, I don't know how to do this, or like, I don't know what you're asking me. And so I feel like that's the way where I just make it fun. And I love kind of gamifying things. So that's where like I always end up being with the PR girl in compliance, because I'm like, okay, no, this is actually really easy to understand. Anybody can do it. And that essentially translates. Like I love to bring creativity into it where it doesn't have to be boring stuff.
That's so cool. It sounds like you should be like a communications major. Do you have any sort of communications degree or?
No, I don't.
Because I mean, even like you just said, PR, like when you're dealing with people, it requires a certain level of communication because not everyone speaks on the same level, whatever.
Exactly.
And so I love that you say you have to bring creativity into like everything you do. I had a brand called Informed, and we did healthcare education.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, how can we help the 96% of people that don't understand, co-insurance, copay, deductibles, out-of-pocket max, the 4 easiest things? How do we help this body of people understand health insurance and speak to them in a way that isn't like jargon and is like clear and Do you feel like you had to practice a lot of that in that job?
I'd say yes in that, because I learn differently in things where things don't automatically, where I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, I understand this.
I'm the same way.
So I feel like because it takes me a little bit to process things, then I have to understand it at a very granular level, so that now when I explain it back, because I've had to unpack it, it's a lot easier for me to be like, okay, this is what it actually means.
Did that make you feel, okay, I experienced the same thing where I don't understand things like this. I need to like go deep in order to like really feel like I understand them.
Yeah.
And my whole life that made me feel stupid.
Yes.
Like I was dumb, because people would be having a conversation and it would feel like everyone in the room around me understood. And I'd be like, what's wrong with me that I don't understand? But it was actually that I probably did understand to the level they were understanding. I just needed to understand at a much deeper level in order to say, oh, I understand that now.
The exact, especially even on a simple thing like board games or things like reading directions. I'm like,
oh my gosh, board games.
Like I'm zoning out. I'm like, I don't know. Somebody just tell me what to do.
No, I would not play board games when I was a kid because I'd be afraid or card games because I'd be afraid I couldn't understand them. Yes. This is like healing for me.
Same. Thank you. It's like single tear. Yeah, for real. So I feel like that's just with everything. I like to be able to, I don't know, just dumb it down in a way where
dissect and
exactly. Where it's like dissect it, piece it back together and be like, wait, does it still make sense? Or it was a lot of times too, I feel like it is asking the question that I may internally think is stupid, but I guarantee you there's like 5 other people who have that same question, but they've just told themselves like, oh, I don't want to ask it. And I'm like, well, I volunteer.
Exactly. I'll do it. I'll answer that for you. It would be such a joy to be in something like compliance or IT or consulting and have you walk into the room, because you carry such a, I'm sure people can feel it through the cameras even, but like being in the room with you just carries such an amazing joy. Like that's just the only way you can say, like you create this amazing sense and essence of joy, which is so cool. And being able to bring that into places like, because I don't know, I haven't maybe met a lot of people that are in compliance or like consulting, whatever, but they're much more like analytical. I mean, they have to be, which you obviously are too, but then you also have this side of you that's just so joyful, and that's awesome.
Thanks. I try, which is funny because one of my first jobs was doing government accounting, and that was not my gift to the world. And it was like quarter close, month end close, weekends. And I realized I was like, this is not for me. And so that's when I realized, I'm like, I like talking to people. I like dissecting things. And so that's when I branched into internal audit. But it is that aspect. I remember my first boss was like, you're not detail oriented. And I'm like, no, I actually am.
Yeah.
It's just like, again, I have to learn a different way to get there.
Yeah.
But then once I do, then I can help everybody else do it
Yes.
too. So that's how I like to bring everybody with me.
Totally. That's awesome. So, okay, you said that your dad pretty much gave you like 4 options and they were like doctor, like lawyer. Is that kind of how you were raised, and a little bit more was your family very demanding of you or rigid, or because there had to be something there that created the person that's sitting next to me?
Yeah. So I'm Nigerian. My dad's from Nigeria. So
Okay.
It's very much so like, and I think it was based too off of his background and growing up and knowing like what he had to do to be able to get to the United States. Yeah. And so it was like, okay, these are the jobs that pay you and that are reliable. And I always was like, I don't think I want to do any of those things at all. Like I was the one, my mom was very much like, what do you want to do? What do you enjoy? And I'm like, I was the one wearing like mismatched socks to school, like dressing myself terribly, but hey, I loved it and they let me live my life.
It was you.
It was very much me. And so I feel like that blend of like structure of knowing like, okay, I think I should do these things, but actually I don't have to do any of those things. Is how I always at this point when I'm like, okay, if it's not working or I can't feel complete joy doing it, then I'm like, all right, on to the next.
It's not for me.
Exactly. It's not for me. I'm like, I will fail fast and I will move around and cut my losses.
Yeah. I love that. When I was very young, probably like, I remember being like 10 or 11, and my oldest brother wanted to be an airline pilot. He flies for Delta.
Okay.
My other brother wanted to join the military. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Wow. My sister wanted to go into business. And I remember being very young and just being like, I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I didn't have any dreams or, I want to be a BMX biker. I want to do a lot of things. But like, I just remember from a very young age going, I've seen a number of people who are like successful and they're not happy.
Yeah.
And so rather than, whatever I'm doing define success, maybe if I can just be happy, that is success.
Yeah.
I remember being so young and having that idea.
That's a philosophical.
I was like 10 or 11. I think about it all the time and I'm just like, where did that come from?
Where do you think it came from?
I don't know. I mean, my dad was a carpenter and then he was a pastor, not unlike Jesus.
Yeah.
But I remember he had opportunity to grow his business and to hire more people, and he could have been more of a foreman and done less of the hard, kind of demanding work, physically demanding. And he's just like, no, that would take me away from my family and away from ministry. And those are kind of things that are important to me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it had something to do with that. But I just saw my dad and my parents, I feel like they just lived how they wanted. They didn't necessarily feel the need to fit within a certain box. And they put a huge priority on family, helping other people, ministry. And that I saw bring a lot of joy to them.
Yeah.
So I just went like, maybe being happy is like that's the pinnacle of success, not a certain dollar amount or a certain job. But yeah.
Because it always shifts. Yeah. And I feel like, when I was little, so I didn't have any actual career idea. I wanted to be a giraffe or a circus clown. Literally, those are my 2 things until I was like 7. And they're like, my parents out there like, hey, you got both what you wanted. You're really tall and I am very quirky in many ways. So I'm like, oh, I guess I got what I wanted.
Yeah, I guess. Turns out the first job, I don't know if that job in Seattle as a consultant was your first job, but your dad kind of got what he wanted. Oh, yeah. In terms of like you going into something like that. How was that job? It sounds like you're able to find joy in it, but is that something you intentionally were like, I'm going to go for this, or almost like an opportunity that just fell in your lap?
I feel like it was steps that got me there. It's funny. So I've had a lot of jobs before I moved to Seattle. My friends used to call me a corporate mercenary because it was like every 11 to 13 months, I was shifting to something else. I think I was.
Are you one of those people that just has a gnarly LinkedIn? And you like know how to like update it, like, you know, when you're searching for work and like your
gosh,
resume is just
it has not been updated. The resume, I was like, okay, how do you condense this?
Yeah.
When I first started, I worked at United Health Group, actually in benefit operations. I didn't go into accounting directly. Then I worked in government accounting at United, and then I went to Patterson Companies and I worked there in IT in audit. And then so I guess my whole trail was like following. I love, again, people. So it's like if there's people that I like that work there, then I'm like, oh, they're like, Shayla, you should come work here.
Yeah.
Like, I should. Let's go. And so so I went from Patterson to St. Jude Medical. And then how I ended up in Seattle is they actually got acquired by Abbott in Chicago. And I was like, okay, audit's never decentralized. So I was like, I'm either going to get laid off or I'm going to have to relocate. And Chicago sounds lovely, but I was like, it's basically Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So I went to a conference and it just happened the guy I was sitting next to, he was from Minneapolis and he had worked at Expedia. And he was like, oh, you said you love to, you know, it's like you go around and you're like, what do you like to do? I'm like, I love to travel.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you love to travel, you should come work at Expedia. And I was like, I should come work at Expedia. Like, where is that? And he's like, it's in Seattle.
Genius.
Yeah. I was like, why didn't I think of that? That sounds great. And so then I got the job at Expedia, packed up, sold my house here. I lived with my sister. And then, I moved out to Seattle. And then when I was there, I realized, I was like, I didn't get to travel at all. I mean, I did, but not as much as I thought. Like, and also work travel and fun travel are
a little bit different.
They're very different. And I realized, I was like, well, maybe I don't want to be in audit the rest of my life. And so at that point, I was like, well, what do I want to do? And I went into finance and then realized like, okay, I don't want to do that either. What the heck do I want to do? And so I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to quit and try something new. So that's when I actually got into consulting, went from Expedia. And then I started consulting for a boutique company for a while.
Got it.
Bopped around and then started consulting for myself.
Yeah. And that's who and you still kind of have that LLC, and that's how someone just called you and was like, hey, do you want to come back and do this?
Yeah. So it's crazy. Like so that was 2019 is when I started consulting for myself. And I realized that all of the clients that I had, they never knew who I worked for. And so I was at the point where How
did they not know did you find the clients on your own?
Yeah, I was finding clients on my own.
Got it.
And for example, I was at Starbucks and then I had a director that I worked with and they had gone to Nordstrom and they're like, hey, we would love for you to come do this at Nordstrom.
Yeah.
Amazing. So then I went there and then I knew someone who was at Walmart and they're like, hey, we'd love for you to come. And so by that point, I was finding my own clients. And so I was like, hey, can we negotiate this in a way that I'm getting, a higher percentage or anything like that. Yep. And then I was like, wait, well, I would love to try doing this for myself because I'm like, it is 100% relationship based.
Yes.
And so, I was like, well, I'm going to leap. So literally I sat in my room and I set up an LLC and I was like, okay, what will people pay me for? And I made a list of things. I was like, okay, maybe somebody will pay me for governance and compliance work. And I kid you not, within the week, an old director that I worked with, who's a dear friend at this point, he was like, are you still consulting? And I was like, I am. Turns out I have an LLC. And so then I started consulting.
And you just got hired.
Yeah. So that was, it was fantastic. So Starbucks was my first client. And then again, it was from there. Then I worked with Zoomies, which was super fun. And then,
Zoomies. Yeah. Like the skate, early 2000s skate brand.
Major throwback. Yes. Zoomies. Right. Seriously, the best and the coolest people.
That's cool.
So I worked with them for a while and then Seattle Children's Hospital for a bit. And then that was during this point, I was doing 2 weeks here, 2 weeks in Seattle. So I was going back and forth. And my mom was like, okay, you never really wanted to do this. Like, it's fun, but you always said you wanted to do something creative. And I was like, I did. She's like, you like to write. I was like, I do. She's like, I don't know. Why don't you should do something with that. And I was like, what do I do with that? She's like, I don't know. Start a blog. Yeah, exactly.
Where anyone starts.
Where anybody starts. And so that was at the point where I found this place and I was like, the first thing in the condo, there was they had a huge fiddle, which RIP, it is no longer alive, but I know. It would have been a great story if it was still kicking, but that thing got naked really quick. All the leaves left it. But they had it. And I was like, oh, this is great. I love plants. Because in Seattle, I had a 400 square foot apartment. And so I decorated it with plants. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'll call it the plant penthouse because everybody can have a penthouse experience. And so I just started taking pictures of my plants and expecting my mom and grandma to read my updates. And everyone got into plants.
Then everyone read them.
Yeah.
Was there a moment where all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is actually a thing? People are interested in this, or who was the first big brand you got hired by?
Let's see. First big brand. I'm trying to think, who was it? Well, I worked with Farm Rio is one of the brands that I love. My coat.
What are they called?
Farm Rio.
Farm Rio. Okay.
Yeah, the Brazilian brand.
Cool.
And they have like the coolest prints and patterns. And so they were one of the first brands that I got to work with, which was really cool. And then from there, it's been a mix of like fashion brands and then home decor brands and then writing. So it's been a nice little meld of things. But it's funny because, again, it comes back to people so the way that my following or like people started to learn about me is, so when I first moved into my place, this is a crazy story. It's called Sofagate is what I called it. And that's like people got really involved in this thing. So I ordered a sofa and it was during COVID. And so the company, who will not be named, they said like, we can get you a sofa in 90 days. Right. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Great. Like, great. Cause I had nothing. Oh yeah, I should back up.
90 days isn't a short amount of time.
Okay. It's not really a short amount of time.
But I do remember like a season or the time where it's like, you had to wait for a couch for like 6 months.
Right, exactly.
What was that?
Exactly. Right. Which was like,
was it COVID? Everyone was just sitting at home more and they're like, I need to upgrade my couch.
It was like, everyone need to upgrade. And then nothing was, getting shipped.
Yeah.
So, and I had none of my things because when I moved back here, it was like crazy freak accident, but I had a public storage unit in Seattle and I left all my stuff there. And when it rained, like they had done a satellite on the roof. And I purposely chose a storage unit on the top floor because I thought, great, my stuff, it'll be fine.
Be safe?
Yeah, no, it wasn't, because there was a roof leak. All of my stuff got ruined.
No.
So, like, all of my stuff. And it was so crazy because it also made me realize like things at the end of the day are just things.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, look at how quickly like all of my stuff is moldy and it's done. And
now I need a couch.
Now I need a couch. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to have people help me choose the sofa. And then when it comes, it's going to be so great. So like I was posting like, okay, guys, like one more month. I'm doing countdown. Everybody's getting excited with me, Steve.
Dude, people love a good plot.
Okay, people love a good plot.
If you have like a storyline that you're building and like can just invite people into that, they're like, on the edge of their seat. It doesn't matter what it is.
Because a sofa.
It's a sofa.
And so everyone is following this thing. And I'm like, guys, it's delivery day. Everybody is excited. And then when the sofa comes, the thing is damaged. And it's not like, it literally looked like they had like brought it off the truck. And it was like an apple, like a green apple velvet. And it looked like they had dragged it and then had a cat just like demolish this thing. It was.
It wasn't like a corner was nicked or something. It was demolished.
It was absolutely demolished. And then so I was like, oh, I'll call them and they will work with me. No, they were not willing to work with me. They were like, this is a custom sofa. We will not issue a refund. We will not exchange it. And I was like, are you kidding me?
You should be mentioning the name of that brand to save other people a horror story. Did it end up working out?
It did after. So that the court of public opinion is better than any lawyer. Let me tell you that. So people got they're like, wait, we've been following this and this brand, they won't give you your money. So they started spamming their Instagram till they're like, if you would just stop posting about us, we'll do it. Yes.
Yeah. So I got my That's refund. The best.
But that was Sofagate. And like, I kid you not, I had so many, I still have friends now from
that's how you started kind of a following?
It was between that and then
blessing in disguise.
Okay, truly, it was a blessing in disguise. It was Sofagate. And then right after that, I did an HGTV feature. We did a home tour. And that was, I know. I was like, yes, you can feature my place. Yeah. And so that was kind of between those two.
And how long have you been doing it?
Since May 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really cool.
And it's just, that's been how you've been living, is writing blogs about plants and design and all of it.
Yeah. And a lot of brand partnerships have been really great. Whether it's like Sweet Green was a really fun one. I partnered with like Mercury Mosaics so it's been a lot of storytelling.
Yeah.
Via like plants, life.
Yeah.
Vibrancy.
Did it take like a bit of a shift to go from like the right brain to the left, like going from like analytics and like data and like all this stuff to just being creative? Or was that like freeing? Is it scary? With analytics and data, there's like not a lot of, it's like either you're right or you're wrong. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of gray.
Yeah.
And then when you're going from that to being a creative and just putting your writing and everything out, there's much more vulnerable.
It is.
Was there like fear that like came in or even imposter syndrome as you were starting it?
Oh, 100%.
It sounds like you didn't even have time to process that. It just happened.
Yeah, it just happened. And then that's the thing. It's like when I started, I'm like, oh, no one's going to read this anyway. So then, I was just like full throttle.
Yeah.
But then it's interesting because to your point of like, oh, it is very vulnerable because then people have critiques and they have feedback and you're like, I didn't write this for you, or I didn't do this for you. And so I feel like it is very vulnerable to put your creative work out there, because whether you want them to or not, people are going to judge or critique or have opinions. And I feel like if anything, it made me stay more centered, because when I first started and I was getting people like, you have too many plants, you don't have enough plants, or I don't like this. So then I feel like I was like juggling plates, trying to like meet people's demands. And then I realized, I was like, oh wait, anything you do, someone's going to love it and someone's going to hate it. Yeah. So you may as well be authentically yourself, because then that way, okay, I'm doing this for me and for other people. If you want to enjoy it, amazing. If not, love and light, and keep it pushing.
100%. I found that too. When you're creating for other people, their critique hurts much more.
Yeah.
and it's so easy to get in that cycle. I've a ton of times started something for me, myself, didn't really care, but then you start to get like compliments and you're like, oh, that feels good. And you find yourself trying to like serve those compliments.
Yeah.
Do you know Rick Rubin?
Yes.
He's like the crazy guy. Yeah. And I love his bit. He says that a lot of what we're experiencing now in movies and video and music isn't true art. Like in true art, the audience comes last. And it turns out the best thing for your audience is to completely ignore them and just create from yourself, from you.
Makes sense.
It's so good. But have there been moments though where you've kind of like fallen into that because you were starting to get compliments and stuff and you're like, okay, I got to recenter.
Yeah.
How do you recenter?
Recenter, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? I feel like that's the easiest thing of like, what's my why? And I feel like that is, I don't know, a piece that maybe has led me back to being like, maybe I will go back into consulting and compliance. Is like when I started Plant Penthouse, for example, it was very much so for me and like just a creative outlet. And then when you monetize like your one passion, then you're like, okay, well, what do I?
It changes a bit.
It does. It changes it. And I don't know if I don't know if I like that as much, like if that's like the main thing.
Yeah.
Do I want it to be the main thing?
Well, that's the thing is I think anybody who's taken a passion and monetized it either goes, oh, this is great. I get to do my passion and get paid for it. Yeah. But there's also an element of like, I kind of wish this was just my passion, because most passions are an expression of ourself.
Yeah.
Like most of it. And I think at some point you maybe get pulled into creating for others. And then you're like, okay, this is technically my passion, but it's different now. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same, especially if it comes with like a brief of like, okay, you need to do like this, this, and this. Yeah. Or it needs to be like this many words, or you need to include this, or you need to say this. And it's like you find yourself trying to blend in things that maybe you wouldn't. I mean, it's always for myself. It's always authentically me, but I'm like, oh, I have to like make sure I check these boxes versus if you're just creating, then you can do whatever you wanted.
Like you can still take the feedback from the clients. You can still take kind of the creative guidelines or whatever, but still inject who you are. I guess maybe it's just saying no to more people.
That's so funny. It's saying no. Because I feel like when I first started, I was excited to be here. So anything, I'm like, yes, I will do this. I will
say
do
yes
this.
to everything.
Yeah, you say yes to everything. And then I realized like, oh, no, I need to say no. So I'm a lot more selective now. Yeah. Because I feel like, and then I make sure that whoever I work with thoroughly understands who I am, especially if they're looking at it from a social media or marketing perspective of like, I'm a very flowery person. Yeah. I like using emojis. So if somebody's like, I don't want you, like, I want you to talk. I'm like, well, then I'm not the right person. Yeah. But I can recommend somebody who is. And so I feel like I'm just very comfortable now saying no, and here's someone else that I can recommend.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's beautiful. So your dad, wanting you to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, when you started doing the Plant Penthouse, how was he happy?
Oh, he loves it.
He's at that point you'd been in Seattle, you're doing consulting, you're doing all this stuff. You kind of like,
he's like, I'm so glad we did this.
Yeah. Good.
So he loves it.
That's awesome. I love that. That's beautiful. What is the relationship like, even just the way you've kind of gone out and built things and explored the world and done consulting in Seattle and a plant blog in Minneapolis? Like, how have your parents kind of like informed that, or like, how do they play a part in some of that?
I feel like since I was little, they let me do what I wanted. Like they just gave me the space, which is now looking back, I'm like, oh, I was a piece of work. And they just let me be me, which is, I feel like that now till this day, like I still do what I want. I mean, within reason, but like, even with when I wanted to do Plant Penthouse or when I wanted to, my dad's like, are we sure? But he's like, he knows I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's more so they always support my decisions, which I really appreciate and know that at least I have a cheerleading section regardless of like, I remember there was a time when I was in Seattle and I was really unhappy. There was like work was stressful. It was all bad.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I was like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to become a barista, which actually I didn't become a barista, but I became a bridal stylist, for a bit. I have had the most random side gigs. Yeah. So I became a bridal stylist.
I love it. Yeah. Side quest.
Yes. I love a good side quest. So yeah, I became a bridal stylist for a while, until I realized I would need a few roommates to be able to, supplement leaving a corporate job to be a part-time bridal stylist. But even during that, like my mom wrote me a card and was like, if you gave it all up, like I still love you and you're still doing amazing. And I was like, thank you. I think I can do life.
I love that. I've had moments in my entrepreneurial journey where I almost expected my parents to sit me down and be like, all right, Steve, this is cute. Like you've tried a number of things, time to like get serious. And they never did. Yeah. And that's just like, I'm so thankful for that. Mm-hmm. Like and I know that's not everyone has that in a family and in parents. Like they just supported me endlessly no matter what. And that is just like, it makes me want to cry because it's so like special. Yeah.
And it's always when you need it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Super cool. In your like entrepreneurial journey and just like trying things out, is there anything that you have yet to try that you're just like, that's one thing, and you're just like, maybe there's fear, there's something creeping in, you're like, how do I get to that?
I'm trying to think because I've done, if I have a side quest like that I want to do, I'm like, why? Like I thought I wanted to be a florist for a while. And so then I started taking floristry classes and then freelance and weddings. And I was like, oh, this is way harder than Instagram makes it look like. That's backbreaking work. I was like, okay, so that's not for me. I'm trying to think of something that I haven't tried yet. I've really wanted to do like homes. So there's an amazing guy. His name is Jason Saft. He has a brand called Stage to Sell. And he does... he stages amazing homes in New York. Like they're all fantastic, like the best art. Yeah. Like, it's just so cool. And so, and he has this, like, he's curated this great collection of just decor and like furniture and everything and stages these homes. I'm like, oh, that'd be amazing. And then, but I looked into it. I was like, the logistics of it, it's a lot of things like they look really glamorous and amazing. And then you're like, okay, no, there has to be a plan behind this. So that's one thing I was like, what I want to stage homes. Cause I love decorating and changing things out. Yeah. But it's like, you don't need to make it a business, right? To be able to enjoy it. And that's, I think, the thing that I'm learning is like, okay, you don't have to, every idea, it's not like, how can I make money from this? Yeah. But now
maybe something you can enjoy.
Just something I enjoy.
Well, interior design, maybe staging homes is less satisfying because it's just like flip them, whatever. But interior design maybe could be more satisfying.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I could. Then suddenly I looked into that and I didn't realize that to be an interior designer, you have to have a degree, like to call yourself an interior designer, you have to have, like, you have to go to school for 4 years. You have to, there's a whole process.
This is 2026. Like people are literally out here like doing the craziest stuff with no degree. Yeah. You just prove you can do it. And
exactly. But like to have the title, and I guess the title doesn't necessarily matter. But I didn't realize, because I was like, oh, I want to be an interior designer. Yeah. And then the process, I was like, no.
I feel like nowadays, like I could just start designing my home like I want. Yeah. And start taking photos of it. And then all of a sudden someone online just goes, I love how you design your home. Can I hire you to do mine?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily need
No, you don't need the credentials.
The title.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for my plant style, it's not like I had any formal, like I had an accounting background. So I feel like anything, if you have a talent and a passion, or even just like a curiosity about it, then I feel like you'll find your people who appreciate what you do. You know?
Yeah. What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
Okay, you told me that you're like you volunteer teacher, but it's like, you do it like 4 days a week. That's not like volunteer. That's like a full-time job. Like, my dude.
I know, right? So now this year I've cut it back to 2 days, but it's fine. That's one of the things that I do for fun now. So 2 days a week, I go in and do reading and math with kindergartners now, US early learners, which is high five in Minneapolis, but preschool, but with kindergarten. Then I read with them, do their like morning stuff, and just like hang out with the babies. And it's the best. It's the best feeling ever. Like I love it so much. They're so great.
Yo, you need some kids of your own.
I know. One of these days. That's what my dad's like.
He's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? I have a whole album on my phone of like texts from my dad because he's like, that's what he was like.
You getting married and having kids?
Yes. Yeah. It's like he was like, maps are online, like jobs are online. You need to get online.
Okay, have you ever started a dating like profile? I haven't either.
I just feel like
my friends are like, get on dating apps. I'm like, there's something about me that's like I don't come off like it, but I'm like a romantic.
Yeah.
And I like imagine meeting someone in like a coffee shop or like, them like walking up or me walking up to them.
I know, right? And that hasn't happened yet.
The apps don't do it for
me.
I
know, because I
can't do it.
I can't. And
I'm bring myself to do it.
Like I won't. Just like hold out.
Yeah.
There has to be another way.
Yeah, I think so too.
One of these days.
Yeah, maybe a teacher at school or something.
Maybe, right? Maybe somebody out there, it's like.
Okay, and weren't you like on another side quest? You were trying to like join the school board?
Oh my goodness.
We're not talking about this.
The grades I have are from that race. No, sure. And I feel like I struggle with, I saw somebody say this, like the how hard could it be gene? Like if I see a problem, I'm like, somebody has to solve this. And I'm like, is there anybody?
Okay, I'm just like, where does that energy come from? That's why I'm like, keep asking about your family. Because I'm like, where did that get you?
Oh, my sister said, she's like, you exhaust me someday. Because it's like, I'll wake up with a new idea. Like I wake up like 30 million ideas. So that was one of them. That was 2 years, because I was 2024. So then I was looking at, in our classroom, amazing teacher that I was working with, and she was buying all of her own stuff. And there was just a lot of different things where I was like, who's governing this? And I'm like, the school board does. And I was like, the school board, okay. My background's in governance. School board does governance. Like, let me look into this. Yeah. So I started looking into the finances. And so then I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, I volunteer as tribute. I will run for school board, and knew absolutely nothing about politics. I just knew I loved the kids and I understood finance. But it's funny how public perception matters, and that a lot of things that I do, I don't need to tell people about it. Like I'll just do it. But then when you're in politics, like you have to show your work. And that part
totally.
It made me so uncomfortable, because it's like, well, here's me doing this. and it's like versus just doing.
Yeah, versus just
getting the work done. Yeah.
I mean, even in this season, with it's January 2026, there's crazy stuff happening in Minneapolis. Some of the people I've seen that care the most are not making any noise online.
Yeah.
They're just quietly like bringing people groceries, helping people pay rent, helping people out where they can, tipping their Uber driver big, like just whatever it is. Like they're just kind of like taking it and just doing it. And it doesn't have to be loud, but we live in a time where people are like demanding that you be loud about it.
Tell me what you did.
What you believe. It's like, you're not going to like what I believe anyway. So why would I say it?
Yeah, it's so true how that works. So that was just, that was an interesting experience. I feel like it was like just a study of anthropology. Of like, I learned so much about people through that race, and like what motivates people, what drives them, ulterior motives, what are goals? And it's like to have to navigate that so quickly. I'm like, it takes a special person to consistently stay in politics. So I tip my hat.
I'm bowing out of this one.
I'm bowing out. Again, I guess I never say never, but at that I was like, oof.
This isn't for me right now.
It's just not for me right now. Yeah. But it was a good run.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I love that you are taking that time, and it's cool with your job. You've had the flexibility to go and just hang with kids.
It's been a blessing.
And like just serve in your community, which is so cool. So what's next? When are you moving back out to Seattle?
I am leaving. So I start March 2nd.
Okay.
So anytime that final week. So speaking of kids, because I was going to go sooner, but I am in a fellowship, and my focus is early childhood education, really passionate about that. But we're taking a trip to DC at the end of February. So I wanted to be able to do that.
The kids, the kids are?
No, just the fellowship group. So
the fellowship group.
Yeah, so we're going to meet. So one of the biggest issues is around the achievement gap and like reading levels, literacy. There's so many different things that you can like pick at, especially in Minneapolis. But there's a few areas that have kind of solved the achievement gap, and from a financial standpoint have seen success. And so we're going on it's like a go-see. We're going to a sister school to learn about like how were you able to turn things around?
Okay.
And see what we can glean to
Okay.
to Minneapolis.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then when are you going back up to Seattle?
I am going probably that final week. So February 28th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's coming up.
It's coming up so
Are you
quick.
ready?
I'm excited, but then I'm in denial. And then, which is why I think I just started packing now. Cause I was like, oh, it's not really happening, but it is.
Yeah.
So, but I'm really excited. I love a good adventure. So
yeah.
I'm
Seattle is, it's sick. And all the most beautiful, I love the Pacific Northwest. So,
so great.
Are you an outdoorsy gal?
So funny. I was not.
Okay.
I was not until I moved there. Literally, that's why my parents were like, who the heck are you? You have to
you're
be.
out there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when I started. I was like, oh, I do like climbing and biking and I love the outdoors. Who would have thought? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I'm there, I'm like, yes, I love it.
That's great. I have a buddy who's in Portland, so it's close by, but he's like mega outdoorsy guy. So
Really?
if you don't know any like people, he'd be like every week and he'd be like, let's go camping. You know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. Like, he's just down. So if you need some adventure,
Okay,
buddy,
noted.
I got you.
Noted. I love it. That's
Cool.
great.
What haven't we touched on that you're thinking about or excited about that or is a passion of yours? I know the podcast is about fear, so I'd like to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I imagine at some point in the conversation, it would go to like, this is what I'm really afraid of. That never happened.
Yeah.
It seems like you just move. And like, is there like a formula to that? Or is that just something maybe that's in you that you don't even really have to like consider? It's just when you have an idea, it's like you aren't overly going, here's one thing you said is, what's the best that could happen?
Yeah. I feel like before I get too scared, before I talk myself out of things, I just
you just go.
I just go.
Yeah.
And like, hopefully there's not cement, when you die, but there might be. I guess it's a chance,
Yeah. For whatever reason, my parents were always very positive, and I grew up, in a loving family and all that. But I don't default to that. I maybe it's like the doubter in me or something. But a lot of my life, I've kind of gone like, what, I'm not like necessarily envisioning like the best thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going, how could this hurt me? And I'm still taking a lot of risks. Like,
you do.
Starting my own, businesses and moved to Thailand and whatever. But like, I'm not necessarily like manifesting the best. I'm usually thinking about like, what's the worst? I guess it maybe hasn't affected me, but something I say to people all the time is like, just because I've done things I've done doesn't mean I'm not afraid. Like I'm almost always afraid.
I'm always afraid.
I just still take the step.
Yeah, I'm always afraid. I cry a lot. I'm like, what the heck did I just do? But it's like, oh, well, we're doing it anyway, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's just you got to do it. Do it afraid, and then because that's the thing. I look at it this way too: is that if I start today, I could be really bad. But then if I start today, then it's like a year from now, I'm that much further. Versus if I'm just sitting here like, should I wait? Well, then a year later, then I'm still thinking like, oh, I should have done that. Versus I would be a year in. And
are you a perfectionist?
Yeah.
You're good at. From outwardly, like everything I see you do, you're good at. So that was either just super naturally you're good at everything, or you took time to get there. So does that keep you from starting at times?
Yeah.
The fear of not being perfect?
Doesn't necessarily stop me from, I get started and then I figure like if I notice that, okay, this isn't playing to my strengths, or if it's like, for example, I thought I wanted to be an etiquette coach. Like I taught, no joke, I taught etiquette at a country club for a while.
At a country club?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, for kids. And it was such a joy, but I was like, I don't need to be an etiquette coach. Like, it's very interesting and fascinating, and I love it. But it's like, okay, I don't need to do this. So it's like I'll try things, and that's what I'm always on board to try something. And then if I realize like, okay, this isn't for me, or like I can't be great at this, then I'm like, okay, then we just like
go do something I'm actually really great at.
Yeah, exactly, or something that I'm actually excited to learn more about, so that I can become great at it.
Yeah. I've been thinking about a lot lately about like, am I using my skill sets and my passions in a way that is like optimal? And optimal sounds like bad, but it's like, am I making the most out of the gifts and talents I have? And that has been like a kind of crippling question, because I'm like, I think I am, but like, where could I move and do things that is like even better? And I think, I don't know, people talk about all the time is like, when you're younger, it's like all about just saying yes to a bunch of things. And then as you age, really the definite and way to achieve success is actually saying no to more stuff and yes to the things that really matter.
It's true. And being okay. And I think because I am a like recovering people pleaser, like I just want like, I want people to be happy and I want everything to be great. And it's like, okay, it can't always be like that. And honestly, some people just don't want to be happy.
No, they don't.
I'm like, okay, I can't help you.
It's another area where it's like you're going to drive yourself nuts trying to control something that actually you have no control over.
Yeah.
Like people are going to be, you know, miserable if they want to be miserable.
People are going to people, you know?
People are going to people. But yet you still love them. Like you've talked about multiple times in this podcast how like you're teaching kids 4 days, 2 days a week now, but 4 days a week because you love kids. You went into compliance because you're like, I love people. You started this, the plant thing, the plant blog, and like, it's all comes back to people. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Well, community, building community. I like doing that. Yeah.
Where is your community? Do you go to church? Where do you find that?
Yeah, I need to. Well, I thought this meme where it's like, find me a church. Have you seen that? I'll just send it to you. It's so funny. But no, I've been like bopping around recently.
I feel like I've been bopping too.
Yeah. But I've been to every day. I told my sister I'd go this Sunday, so I guess I'm gonna go to every day.
Every day, yeah. Shout out Josh and Katie Crable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great church.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's been like the most consistent visits I've had. But family, I feel like has always been my community. Like I'm very close with immediate family, extended family. Like those are. I feel like my mom growing up was always like this. These are your friends. Like so, my sister was like, you're my best friend. And now I'm like, I don't know if she still thinks I'm her best. I'm like, say it back.
Yes, say it back.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, I feel like family is like the main community. And then just, I feel like I built community, whether it's in this building, they're my family. Anywhere I go, I'm like, I read this quote and it's love is the highest form of friendship. And I think it was like meant romantically, but I'm like, I think it really just like to be able to love people and then to immediately like find there's something that I can love about each person and then to build like connection and friendship about that is what I love to do.
And not knowing you very well, I like see that in you. Really? Like I see that you have this really unique and beautiful ability to love people and do it with joy. Like, I think people can say like, yeah, I love people, but it's like, well, you don't really look happy about that. Like, you're like gritting your teeth. It seems easy for you. And that's really cool.
Thank you. And that's funny though, because I say like, I love everybody. I don't like everybody.
Yes.
But I love everybody. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. So, cool. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm inspired by you.
Oh, thank you.
So excited to continue to get to know you. And just thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. Great.